Join us, Alex
and Colleen,
self-proclaimed fake it till you make it experts as we navigate the highs and lows of being a woman and how the pressure and overwhelm of trying to do it all often leads to feeling like an imposter in our own lives.
In today's episode, we chat with local influencer Kayla Short about how she navigates the pressure and societal expectations of being in the public eye by leading with kindness and showing up unapologetically.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Colleen.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am going to talk to you about your fashion.
Oh, okay.
You are, okay, so first of all, you didn't switch it from your neck to your wrist.
I did, and then it was bothering me too much.
So, Alex,
this is my new menopause life where I can't have things touching me.
Oh, you were wearing a kerchief.
Yeah.
And then you switched it from your neck to your wrist, but now it's off. But every time we're out, no matter where we are, constant, people always talk about your style. Talk to me about your style.
It's kind of a new development, actually, that I've just decided to wear what I want or be more cognizant, I guess, of it. Just probably the last few years, but I like that. Like I put a lot of thought into putting things together or how it looks or how the kind of vibe that I want to have. So when people acknowledge it, it's really nice because I do think about it. I think about it a lot. I'm constantly watching trends. It's a little difficult because at 47, I don't want to do all the trends that are out there. They don't make sense for me. I'm also 5'2", so a lot of those things don't make sense for me. I like to kind of take little bits and pieces from things that I see. I love free people. I kind of look at them and see what the emerging things are and then take little things from that. Because I'm not full boho, which is sort of their thing, but I do like a lot of the way things flow and how layering and those types of things. So I just, I have fun with it. I used to be really self-conscious about a lot of things, so I didn't really dress the way that I wanted to. I dressed the way that I thought I should and was really uncomfortable for most of my life in how I looked. So it's kind of freeing and nice now to have, found something that I can work with my height, because heels were such a big deal for so long. And I hate wearing heels. And they also didn't really have like jean lengths that weren't insanely long. And raw hems and things like that were not a thing. So you either had to like get them awkwardly, weirdly hemmed. And everyone knew that they were hemmed because they didn't have whatever that Euro hem is now. Or just wear insanely tall shoes so that things would fit properly.
Well, I haven't totally found my vibe yet, except for my Converse sneakers. You'll always see those on me. But I've never really quite found my style. But you've been helping me a little bit with that. Alex will go to a thrift store and come back and be like, here, you're going to start wearing this now. And I'm, okay.
But I think it evolves too. Like,
does.
I don't think there's a set style that you have to be. You just... For me, either it works or it doesn't work, and I know immediately.
Yeah, I just want to be comfortable. That's
also
my style,
plays into it as well.
Comfortable, yeah. A lot of times, though, that involves sweatpants, and I don't want to wear sweatpants.
Sweatpants are trendy.
Outside, so,
I don't still don't wear them out in public, but lots of people do.
So we have with us today Kayla Short from Short Presents, who is a fashion icon in this city.
Stop it right now.
Right?
You think so?
Yeah, everybody knows Kayla's style. And
that's
Kayla's,
actually so nice.
Well,
Thank you.
There you go. So talk to us a little bit about, so first of all, Kayla comes across, I'm sure some people are like, what the hell have you got Kayla on for? Because she's not an imposter. Because Kayla comes across always as one of the most confident human beings out there. You're putting yourself out there. You're doing speaking engagements. You're on podcasts. You're on TV. You're working with brands. You're doing all the things. You're very public facing. But
you're also calling out shit too, which is really nice. And that takes a lot of confidence.
It takes a lot of confidence.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because sometimes I'm like, am I too spicy? Was that like threads? I'm very spicy. And then I'll have moments where I'm like, oh, I think I said too much. But also it's how I feel. And I know it's how a lot of other people feel. So I'm like, whatever, I'll take the hit for it.
Yeah, no, you are spicy.
And that takes a lot of confidence. So I could see why, yes, people probably would not think imposter syndrome.
Because you have had your struggles with imposter syndrome and with confidence quite a bit.
Of course. Yeah. It's so funny to hear you say all of those things because I don't always feel that way. I think I like to do the things, and so I do them anyway. I do them scared. I do them, we were talking off air before this. I do them and I don't sleep the night before, or I'm going over everything in my mind because I always want to do a good job. And I think that that's the root of all of the anxiety is we want to do a good job. We want whatever it is that we're doing to have value. We want to make sure if it's a speaking engagement or a TV segment, there's something that people take away from it. And I think at the core, that's where all of that anxiety comes from. But yeah, 100%. I struggle too. Obviously, I just could barely get a sentence out. So not perfect. And nobody is. I think there is this idea with social media that everyone is just showing up and loving every second of it. And it's just not true. Yeah. There might be some people who fully just don't have the anxiety. I don't know who those people are. I haven't met them. Obviously, y'all have a whole podcast about it. So everyone you talk to has some level of stress. I don't know that there's anyone that's completely void of it. Maybe once you get going, it's different. You get on stage and then the ball is rolling. But for sure, I feel like on some level we all have it. Yeah.
I think so too. And we talk about how it ebbs and flows. It goes in and out at different times in our lives, depending on what we're dealing with in our life at any given time.
And how much it matters to you.
And how much it matters, true.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I think particularly too, when you're in the public eye and you have an audience and you have a platform, all of your actions matter because they all lend to your brand, your personal brand in some way. So there's a little bit more pressure, I think, if you have a larger audience and people are scrutinizing everything that you do and some portion of them waiting and looking for you to fail.
You almost need to block it out.
Yeah.
I think you need to, I forget that there are that many people watching. And I think you need to do that on some level. It's funny because I feel like in person, maybe I'm more shy than I am online because I think you're doing it in your own house and you control the narrative. And then, I told you I lose my train of thought.
You said you're losing your total
train of thought. No, but it's true. Right? And I agree with that. I mean, I have a much smaller following than you, but I am way more comfortable talking to camera and stories than I am walking up to someone that I don't know and talking to them.
Yeah, I would 100%. Rather film something than do a speaking engagement in front of a room full of people, which is so funny because I used to be the opposite because I taught high school. And then now, for whatever reason, I like the camera stuff, but maybe it's because you can edit out what you need to. You can fix it yourself, so you have more control. And I think when you're doing it in person, anything could happen, just like now. You lose your train of thought or whatever. So, yeah, that could be part of it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were quite shy as a young girl.
Oh my God, I was so shy. Okay, so I went through I feel like I wonder if other people have this experience. So when I was little, I was so confident and loved all of the things. I did full performances on my lawn. I would make all my friends do it. I would choreograph dances, which I had no business doing because I had no dance training whatsoever. And loved every second of it. I'd have my boombox out there just giving her on my front lawn. And then I feel like society or whatever just beats it out of you. So my teenage years, I was the most watered down version of myself. Just so timid, so shy, would never put myself out there. I actually have no photos of myself from probably grade, halfway through grade 7 until maybe grade 10, 11, because I was so shy, I would literally hide behind my friends, which is so funny considering what I do for a living. I've been blogging since 2010. There are pictures of me on the internet for 15 years. So obviously a different experience now, but back then I was just so, I think when you're a kid, you think about the kid on the playground and they're like, Mom, look at me, watch me, watch. And then you turn into a teenager and you're like, oh, people are watching me and they have something to say about it. And then you get so overwhelmed by that lens that you've just officially realized in your brain that happens. And I feel like that just hit me with a ton of bricks and I just shut down. I just stopped participating. I stopped wanting to be seen, which is so funny. My sister and I, if you met both of us and you're which one of you were in a pageant in high school? Obviously, you would think it's me, given what I do for a living, but it was her. And it's so funny to think of that version of myself and how she is so different from who I am now.
What do you think, was there a pivotal moment that brought you out of that shell?
I think it's going to be heavy for a second, but I can't dispel that, like, something so traumatic that happened to me. And obviously it would be naive to think that it didn't play a role. But in high school, not a lot of people know this. Some people do, but I was in a really bad car accident. I was actually hit by a car, not in a car getting hit, and probably shouldn't have made it. And I think when you're 16 and that happens, you're like rolling along thinking you're invincible, and like you're young and you have all this whole life ahead of you. And so when that happens, I think, first of all, it got really dark for a bit. But once you get through that, I think you're like, whoa, like life is too short to be like benching myself, like putting myself on the sidelines. The whole time my sister was doing her performance, I'm like, oh, that looks so fun. I wish I could do that. I would love to do that. And I just didn't give myself permission to do it, which is so wild. Like I did that to myself. And how many of us are doing that, you know? So I think, yeah, obviously that's a really heavy thing to talk about, and not, you know, it always like changes the energy in the room, but it is a big thing that happened to me, and it did change my outlook on life and how I showed up in it. And, you know, I just got to a point where I was like, screw this. Like, I'm going to live my life, and, you know, I could literally get hit by a bus tomorrow and everything could be gone. And what do I have to show for it? That I was scared? Hell freaking no. Like, no more, not another day. So there was like a year after that, I signed up for a dance class and I started dancing, and I've literally been dancing ever since. We will not do the math. There are many decades in there. But I started doing dance at the age of 17 and competed that year. I had no business competing, but we had so much fun, and we have, you know, awards, whatever, it was fun. But yeah, I think I also want to say, though, you don't need to have a traumatic experience for you to like flip that script. I don't think, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I don't think that you need to have that experience. I think it is a mindset. I think you can decide for yourself. Do I want to keep living like this? Do I want to keep missing out? And that's like, it's your choice. You can, you know, be the person on the sidelines. And if you're happy there, I love that journey for you. But if you are the opposite, you owe it to yourself to just try, you know?
We've had guests on before that have said if when they start feeling scared about something, then they know they're going in the right direction. If it scares them, then you got to push forward, and that's where I need to go. That's what I need to do.
You need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. If you're never uncomfortable, you're not growing. Yeah. You're not challenging yourself. And like those things are the things that make you feel alive and feel like your life is worth living. And even though you torture yourself the night before and you don't sleep and whatever, you still feel that adrenaline. And you're also keeping a commitment to yourself and following through. And that feels so good after the fact that you're going to want to do it again.
It does. It feels
well,
really
that's where
good.
confidence comes from, because you feel the uncomfortableness, you push through it, and you succeed. And that tells your brain that there is something on the other side that you can get to.
Mark's oatmeal has just arrived.
There's a doggy in the window, and it's so sweet. We love her.
So cute.
Or him, sorry. We love him.
I think we should all have dogs for confidence. And
I'm not really. I have a dog.
And it's not.
It's not. Doesn't build my confidence.
Maybe we need the audacity of cats.
I have a cat.
I feel like we need the audacity of cats.
The audacity of a cat?
The
cats I relate a lot more to, but.
Yeah. Because like they are on their journey. They do not care, right?
No.
Yeah. They're doing whatever the hell
they're like
they want.
sprawled
and they
out,
don't care.
full bellies, whatever. We should aspire to be that.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think that's great. That's good advice.
You can
we
pull
can
that
just
clip.
stop it right here, right? Serving up hot brews, refreshing cold drinks, lots of fresh baked goodies, and delicious lunch options. Visit the Mellow Mug in the heart of Larry Utech for dine-in, takeout, or drive-through service. Their spacious cafe offers a casual and inviting vibe that's perfect for everything from enjoying a good book, hanging with friends, or meeting a colleague. The Mellow Mug is your neighborhood spot for great coffee and delicious eats and sweets. Okay, so you live online. You obviously have a very online presence, and which is great. You've got a lot of support. You've got a lot of engagement, a lot of encouragement, all that sort of stuff. But then there's the trolls.
Yes.
You get a lot of it. I love how on Threads, we started talking about it, how you you slap back. You present the negativity of being online, and you discuss it openly, and you put it out there, which is great. But let's talk about the trolls. And I think one of the biggest things you face with trolls is your voice.
Yes. And the people hearing this right now, it can be one of two ways. They can be like, oh, her voice is so cute. Or they're like, why does she talk like she's 10? And it seems to be very polarizing. It's like giving the Meghan Markle of voices. Like, you either love it or you hate it.
The Meghan Markle of voices. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
But it's true. Like, so the thread that you're talking about the other day, so whenever I have content that gets boosted, it's shown to people who don't follow me. So those people are like, who is this person? Why does she talk like that? The people who follow me know me. The people who are in my life know me, that I sound like that. It's those people who come for me. And then, so that's what I posted about on my threads. And I was like, I just quoted what the girl said. But then literally the day after that, I was out to lunch with my friend, and the server was like, oh, your voice is so sweet. I love it so much. So within a 24-hour period, I had someone coming from my voice saying I sounded like I was 10. And then this other woman being like, oh, your voice is so sweet, and like loved it. So I think because I experience such polarism, I have to be like, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. You're either going to love it or you hate it. It is who I am. Like, think about your voices. Do you put on a specific voice? Like, the only people who did that were Marilyn Monroe and Paris Hilton. Mm-hmm. They really, really ruined my life, like doing this like baby voice. Because if anyone met my grandma, she's since passed away, but she literally sounded like Mickey Mouse. Travis, my partner, would always be like, your grandma sounds like Mickey Mouse. So her voice was even higher than mine.
Interesting.
So it's genetic.
Yeah.
I've always had this. And if anyone knows the science, it's vocal cords. So I probably have smaller vocal cords. God forbid. But it's because it's tied to our view of femininity and our rejection of femininity, which is what I've learned over this time, that there are people who are like, this is too feminine. We don't like this, because we've all grown up in a patriarchal society. And I really believe that it's rooted in that. So when I get these comments, I'm like, oh, the grip the patriarchy has on you. Like, I feel so bad for you, because what else are you denying about yourself and who you are and your gender, which I happen to think is amazing. I love being a woman. So like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, you get a lot of it. I remember when you first went on TikTok, and it was so funny because we were chit-chatting one day. You were like, wait, because at first you were doing a lot of the lip syncs.
That's right.
And you were like, wait until I actually use my real voice. And these people hear me for the first time that are starting to follow me, because they hadn't heard it before. They hadn't heard it at all, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden Kayla comes out with her voice, and it was...
I feel like that might have went viral, because I did like this, obviously TikTok was a different beast in the beginning, but I did this very silly video where I was pretending to be getting ready, and I was like playing the part of the mom and the daughter. But that video actually got a lot, like 300K or something views. But yeah, I feel like it went well at first. I don't remember it being too crazy, but I will say it's the strangers that come for me the most. So it's whenever my content is boosted. TikTok can also be a bit more random, the way that you show up in a For You page. So those are the ones that come for me for sure. But I think I've just gotten to a point where I'm like, this is me. Like it or leave it. There's so much content on the internet. Just keep scrolling. I don't need to know your opinion of me. And I think that's such a big thing where, you'll see people post a recipe and they're like, it's a bean soup recipe. And they're like, I don't eat beans. What can I put in there instead? Find a whole other recipe.
Yeah, I always
this
find
is
that
not
so
the recipe for you.
That people feel the need to comment negatively.
And it's like such entitlement that I'm like, you are chronically online and you need a break.
Do you think it's played part in the imposter syndrome though? Like, because it can't always, like, I know that now you're like, whatever, lump it or leave it.
It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. No.
It couldn't have always been like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we all have our days. I'm sure you both do as well, where you're just not feeling it. You're not feeling yourself. Or if, something is going on in your personal life and you just don't feel that you're presenting yourself the way that you like to present yourself to the universe, and
that for like the last 2 months.
Oh, honestly, when winter comes, like I could literally just not post anything for so long. And then when the sun comes out, I'm like, hi, everybody, I'm back.
Yeah.
But I think that that's all part of being a human. You know, we all have our days. It's also okay to take breaks. Like I don't need to post every day. People do not need to see or hear my voice every single day. And I think there is this pressure of like, constantly pushing out content, constantly having something to say. I think it's totally fine to just sit back. There was a couple weeks where I didn't post anything. I usually don't post on the weekends. Like, it's nice to give people a break too. You don't
Give
always
yourself a break.
like from
It's
being
a lot of
on
pressure.
and spend time with your friends and your family and, you know, go touch a tree or something,
Yeah.
touch grass. We all
Touch
need to
grass.
do that a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
We might
Especially
be
now
happier.
that it's back.
Yeah, touch
Yeah,
grass.
now that it's green again.
I think people feel like they know you.
Mm.
Like they know everything about you.
You think so?
Right? Oh, I think people think they know everything about you. It's
Well, I think that's the nature of social
Of
media.
social media,
if
yeah.
you're being vulnerable at all or personable at all, that people feel like they know at least one side of you,
yeah,
For sure.
the side that you're presenting.
yeah.
So I think that's kind of part of it.
I think
If you're
this-
doing it well.
if you're doing
Especially
it
people
well,
who've been
yeah.
around for a long time too. Because like there's people who have been on this journey with me from the jump. Colleen's one of them. You know, we've known each other for a really long time.
Yeah.
So like for sure you're going to go through those ebbs and flows with your audience. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that you do a very, very good job at and haven't altered, you haven't changed this from day one, and that's kindness.
Oh my
You've
goodness.
pushed kindness. You've pushed being a good person. You've pushed saying nice things. And I mean, you live that in your own life. That's
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
But you really have taught that lesson out there that if you're going to be in my circle,
Yep.
you're going to add kindness to the list of things that you need to work on.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's derivative of me being very sensitive. And I think I feel so much that I feel so protective of everyone else. So like if there are people in my comments and they're being particularly nasty, I'm thinking of how everyone else feels. I don't want people to come to my space and feel bad about themselves. That's the exact opposite of why I'm online at all. So I'm constantly like, I'm an older sister. Maybe that's part of it. Eldest daughter. I'm always protective. And I think it's rooted in my intrinsic sensitivity. So I know how I feel. And so I think I don't want other people to feel this way. And I think it's also sort of like an armor too of like, that stuff's not going to fly here. Like
No,
we're
and
not doing that.
You're very protective of people, and what some people wouldn't see because they just see that external persona that you're giving them. But if something goes on in our world, in our little social media world, where somebody's not being nice to somebody else, or oh my God, the wrath of Kayla comes in, and you'll all of a sudden, like, you'll get a message from Kayla, go, no, girl, we are not putting up with this. And that, and you are very protective of the people that are in your circle.
Yeah. But I think we've worked really hard for this community, both you and I. And I think we worked so hard to create it. I think we are protective of it because we want to hold on to everything that we've put into it. And we also know that we grow when everyone else grows. So I always think about things from a collective. Whenever I'm answering a brand proposal, I think, okay, how will the person after me, if I say yes to this, how will they feel if they also get proposed this? And if it's outrageous, I'm not doing anyone any favors by taking it or doing something that isn't for the greater good, But yeah, I always think of things from a collective, but I also think that helps me show up because then I'm not showing up from like a selfish place. I think me being sensitive, me having high-pitched voice, being a 30-something woman who, I'm not super fit, I'm pretty squishy. And I think like if I'm showing up, then it gives other people permission to feel like they can do the same. And so rather thinking of it from a narcissistic standpoint, which I know a lot of influencers get that pushed onto them, like I'm thinking I'm doing this so that you can also be like, yeah, girl, me too. Like I also wear a size medium. And if that's the worst thing about me, then like, boo freaking who? I'm a great friend. I'm a great person. I'm resilient as heck. Like there's so much more things that are important about us as a person than what the flipper pant size is. And I'm like, there are days for sure where I'm like, oh, I don't love how this looks. Or, we can be our own worst critics and be like, my arms, maybe they're a bit flabby or my stomach's not flat. And I don't want to post a video, but I'm like, screw it. Because someone watching it maybe has the same body type as me and they're like, oh, I would like to wear those pants and that's how they look on her, so I know which size to get. And also like, look at her putting this on the internet. Like maybe that gives somebody the confidence to go do something brave in their life. And like, I'm literally getting goosebumps saying it out loud because that's what matters to me the most. Like I could get emotional about it.
Those are the moments where you're connecting with people, the vulnerable moments when you're not maybe feeling your best, or when you're not putting out what people expect.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot about that with clients too, about you're looking for the people who are going to connect with the mistakes that you make.
Totally.
Honestly.
And usually that's where I love the funny. Like I'm here for that.
That's where people are going to resonate with you. And, you know, there's a time and place for perfectly curated content and production value, but there's a similar place for the times where people can see like the windows into what really makes you you. And I think we shy away from that because everybody thinks they have to show up in this perfect way. And I'm probably not a good example because I haven't shown up for like 2 months because I felt like shit about myself. But
you're showing
sometimes
up right
you
now.
have to push through that
right now.
so that people can see those parts too, because that's when they're going to know, you know, if they really connect with you.
It normalizes things too.
Yeah.
That, you know, when we show up not at 100%.
Right.
It normalizes.
I think it helps with the pressure too.
Right.
Because I think if you go into something thinking it's going to be perfect, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect. There is something that's going to go wrong. You don't know what it is, but you just need to trust in yourself that you can get through it, whatever that is. So I think us having the perception of everything is perfect, everything is going to be great, you're doing yourself a disservice. I think you have to lean in to whatever those bumps are. And usually those things, like I said, are the funny parts. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's what makes you laugh is going to make somebody else laugh. And maybe that's more important than whatever else you're going to say anyway. You know, who doesn't need a laugh in today's society, in this world right now, you know?
Right. Yeah, we all could use a bit of a laugh right now.
Heck yes.
Somebody to relate to, I think.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it definitely takes the pressure off me too, because I'm like, well, whatever happens, happens. And we're just going to roll with it.
And I think that's part of it. And I think it's part of a younger generation coming up is we're not comfortable with rolling with things. So when something goes wrong, we're not comfortable with coming up with a plan B, coming up with a plan C. It's like, because we're just stuck with, oh no, that didn't work. That thing I was doing didn't work. But is it because we're
afraid of what other people think of us?
I think so.
Because I feel like it's the judgment.
Yeah.
Because we're worried about what other people think about us. But why are we more worried about what they think than what we think? And why are we more worried about what they think than we are willing to take the risk to do what we want to do in our lives? Like, isn't that crazy?
I remember years ago, and this sounds so silly, you know, I was driving down the road. It was a snowstorm. I was driving at a speed I was comfortable with, but the car behind me was very annoyed with me. Wanted me to speed up. They were just annoyed with me. I was more bothered by how he was feeling behind me than I was for my own safety. And I sped up. And let me tell you, my car started going nuts when I sped up. And so finally I slowed down. I was in a panic and he passed me and he was beeping, gave me the finger, everything else. And then I reflected on it afterwards. I'm like, why was I bothered by some guy behind me? Why did I let him bully me?
We're all people pleasers.
We're people pleasers.
But do you think that a dude would feel the same way?
Oh, God.
No.
I don't.
Do you think a dude would feel like, I know that, you know, it's controversial to say that, but like, would a man feel that same pressure? And I don't know, probably not to the same extent. Like, we were raised to be good little girls and to, you know, to put other people's feelings above ours. Everyone else is more important than us. And like, look what that's done to us.
Right.
It is not serving us. And then I think like when those things happen, you did such a great thing where you reflected on it. Like, why did I do that? And I think that's the best thing that any of us can do when we're in those moments and those things happen, to be like, why did I do that? Yeah. And also like, who the heck is that guy?
Right.
I'm never seeing him again. Is it worth me going into a ditch or thousands of dollars of damage in my car? Like, we should do what makes us feel safe.
I mean,
I think it's a really big message for women.
Yeah, it's a great analogy, actually.
I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, and not even just safe. Like, it's all the, you know, where you go to a beach and you don't want to put on a bathing suit. Who cares?
Who cares?
Who's looking at you? Who cares?
And if
Are
more
you
of
going
us
to
show
have
up
fun?
like that,
Get in the water, enjoy the water, enjoy this, whatever. Get in the pool, why are you instead going to be all bundled up, sweating and uncomfortable and watching everybody else have fun?
Yep.
Put the fucking bathing suit
Well,
on.
and I think a lot of times too, the fear of judgment is actually our own judgment too that we're projecting. That we're like the things that we've decided about ourselves to be true, and probably from judgment in our past.
Mhm.
That
or what
then
we see
project forward.
in society too, of like, this is the standard of beauty, and if we don't uphold that, then there's something wrong with us.
Right.
Even though there is a whole spectrum of what bodies look like outside of the bubble of TV and social media. And I even feel that way right now. I don't know if this is something that y'all have talked about, but like with the advent of these GLP-1s, if you watch any kind of TV or you're on social media, we're seeing people drop weight in record time. Like it is at a rate that we've never seen, and a volume that we've never seen. And if we live in that bubble of TV, social media, and we don't spend time at the beach with real bodies, we think that everybody looks like abs and beautiful boobs and beautiful booties, which most of them have paid for. Like none of these structures are naturally occurring, and it's really easy to make yourself feel like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
And then maybe you don't even go to the beach at all because you're like, I don't look like that. And if that's what everyone looks like, I ain't going. But I think we need to do better to surround ourselves with real humans and for us to own it. The more of us that go to the beach, the more of us that are like, yeah, I have cellulite. Yeah, I have, whatever. These ridiculous things that we've created are problems with the female body, which they're not problems. They're just differences, and that's okay. But I think, we need to be the change. We need to show up, and we just need to do it.
I think so.
It's true. I think we're heading back into dangerous territory where thin culture is again ruling, and not that it ever kind of dropped, but there was a body positivity movement that was gaining some momentum. And we're seeing that shrink back. Even a lot of plus size creators are now on Ozempic.
Correct.
And that's creating a whole lot of chaos in that sphere as well. And I fear, because it's going to become more mainstream and it's going to become more available. And don't get me wrong, if someone handed it to me, I would take it. I'm not suggesting that I wouldn't. I've struggled with my weight my entire life. So
and
it's
also not to say that there's a problem with it. There is a time and a place where it is helpful.
Yeah.
Like I definitely want to make sure people know that. Because
I'm on Ozempic. So yes.
There's a time and place where it makes sense. But when it's used to like lose that last 5 pounds or 10 pounds.
Which honestly, I would.
And you're already
it's so tempting.
100 pounds to start, like it's in those
well, I'm
moments.
not 100 pounds, but.
I know.
It's difficult.
I struggle with it as well. I mean,
it's the visuals of it.
Yeah.
It's the constant. And like, I think that what you said about the plus size creators now also dropping their weight says a lot about how we view weight.
Yeah.
And how the body positivity movement obviously wasn't as strong as we thought it was. Yeah. If folks were that confident, did feel that confident, they wouldn't be using these drugs to uphold whatever these pressures are of society. So like we started the work. It's kind of a shame that Ozempic came so quickly after. I think that if we had more time, we might have been in a better place and maybe we could have survived it. But I think it was just too close together. And also like everyone coming out of the pandemic and, we all gained weight, sitting at home, eating chips and drinking wine, and we all did it, right? So it's tricky. And I think it's hard to see the volume of it and the folks that you're like, oh, they were confident, but obviously not if they're doing it. So it's messy, and I feel like we're like back in the 2000s, and I don't like it.
Yeah. It's huge with celebrities, and it's interesting too. Sometimes if you're even watching reality shows, and you see like the live footage, but then you see their stories when they're after it's wrapped and they're doing their things and they're basically like 25 pounds lighter.
Yes.
That is mind blowing.
Yes.
Because you're watching them and then it's cutting to them clearly a few months later and they're like a different person.
They're half their size.
It's mind boggling.
even me as a grown woman, I have my moments too where, you do the comparison game and what you look like in a bathing suit is nowhere near what they look like in a bathing suit. And I do worry about young girls because, I'm older. I've been able to go to therapy and move forward from those really treacherous years that I had in my teens. It was horrible. Would never want to go back there. But I can't imagine what that would have been like if it was like this.
One of the ways to combat imposter syndrome is to actually listen to how awesome the people in your life think you are. If you're looking for the perfect gift for a loved one, where you can tell them all of the things that make them special, visit my Drawbridge Creative Etsy shop and purchase a Things We Love About You custom poster. With several styles to choose from, it's a fabulous gift for any milestone birthday, anniversary, retirement, or just because.
I mean, my
I don't know if I
son
would
is
make it.
13 and he is not overweight by any means, but he has some structure to his body. He's got like more of a husky shape. And even yesterday we were talking about it and he's like, well, nobody will find this body shape attractive. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you are built, like you have shoulders, you have a strong presence and everyone is like a waif in junior high and he gets made fun of constantly for his weight and it is the worst constantly.
That's heartbreaking to me.
He's not heavy really. He's got a little bit of weight on but it doesn't matter because any kind of weight is
it's interesting that it's also males because I think we think oh, it's just women.
No, it isn't just women. Guys have the same.
And it's the boys that are giving him a hard time.
And I mean, with the GLP-1s, I am overweight. I have been overweight for years. I've been obese for years. And when the doctor tried to get me to go on Ozempic long before I was ready to go on it, and my insurance wouldn't cover it, eventually my insurance would cover it, and I went on it. And let me tell you, I started dropping weight. I started feeling better. I started feeling more comfortable in my clothes and confident and back to, but eventually insurance stopped covering it. And at $250 a month,
it's not for nothing.
It's a lot of money.
Like basically a carpet.
And it's, carpet for some people, that's right. Like so I went off it. I stopped taking it. And the weight's been going back on and going back on and going back on. And I'm miserable with it. Like I can't, but what Ozempic did for me is so to take away all that food noise.
Yeah.
Has
and
been
also for women with our insulin, obviously when we get to a certain age, excuse me, 35 and older, that starts to happen. And unfortunately, no one gives a crap about us. So no one studied us until 5 years ago, which is insane.
Yes.
So it also is helping with those things. Like if I think about my metabolism before 35 and now, it is a very different place. I work out and I eat well to stay the exact same.
Yeah.
It doesn't change.
Same.
And so it is interesting to see how these medications help with the insulin resistance
it helps
and
unbelievably.
all of the things with perimenopause. And
So I'm menopausal. I'm 56. So I am now back on it. I've been back on it again for 3 weeks. I'm starting to see the weight go again. And I believe the medication is perfect for somebody like me. But I say that as me. You know what I mean? Somebody else might look at me and go, oh my God, yeah, she's, she shouldn't be on it either. But there are.
Listen, if someone handed me it, I would take it. I'm not anti weight loss medicine.
Yeah.
I don't feel responsible paying for it if I don't need it. But if it was there and accessible, I would take
it goes to show a greater issue with our food and our food production, maybe our way of life with how we live in constant stress. You can literally read studies that people in the 70s were smaller and they could lose weight easier. There has to be a reason for that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, there's
you know what I mean?
So much in the food, so much in our food.
It's bringing
and
attention.
genetics too, metabolism and all those different things, and that depending on who is producing, it just becomes more prevalent.
I know that for me, once I started taking Ozempic and the food noise that like left, I don't think of eating now. Like I don't think of it. Whereas before it was all day long, food,
So
thinking of the next thing. And now I don't even think of it. I just eat healthy because you have to eat the food, to stay. So there's something with the brain. There's something with the brain
and like your insulin
and
whatever's
Ozempic and all of it.
In your gut health or whatever is going on with the food signals and whatever it is. But I think
we don't know enough about it yet.
I was just going to say, we need more information.
We need way more. The studies are not there. The studies on women's health are not there. We need way more. And you know what? In 10, 15 years, we might be looking back and say, you know what? You shouldn't have taken Ozempic because now you've got a third arm or something,
Especially if the folks
a really thin third arm.
A thin third arm, yeah.
Especially for the folks who are taking it that maybe don't need that insulin response that medically, it wasn't for them.
But
that might be something that happens. I don't know enough about it.
There's studies now around Ozempic and for people with drug addictions, that have never, ever been able to kick a drug addiction because food is an addiction, right? It's part of your brain that's an addiction.
I heard that about alcohol. And I heard that, I think about smoking, or it might be another one, but
it is helping people get off who have been abusers of alcohol and drugs for years. So there's something to it with the brain, but we just don't know enough yet.
Yeah.
But
I love that we're talking about it because I feel like nobody's talking about it. And if we keep staying in our house, watching our reality TV shows, feeling how we're feeling, we're going to feel alone. We're going to feel isolated. And I think the more we bring it to the forefront, the more that we say, I feel the same way. And you see me showing up online, looking confident and thinking that I think I'm all that. And I have these feelings too. Like we are also united in that, I think I'm glad that we're talking about it, even though I know it's controversial and there are going to be folks who are going to be sour about it. And I just want to make sure that people know that we're not hating on it because
we're not.
I do think it has a purpose.
But it's definitely causing body dysmorphia for people that are small or in the regular range of
straight sizes they call it, I think.
Straight size, is that what it's called?
Is that what it's called?
But it's causing body dysmorphia to people that it really shouldn't.
Yeah, and a
be
pressure.
causing body
pressure
and
that
the
we
pressure.
already had.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right?
Yes, times a bazillion.
Yeah. It's a tough one. It's a tough call, but it's for me, it's working.
And I think a lot of people who grew up in the ages that we did, and I think you're 10 years younger than me, 10, 12, 15 years younger than me. Weight was a huge topic. Like
it was the only thing that was of value.
And our parents were very concerned about it.
It was the only thing that mattered.
Like it was a big conversation. And I was put on a diet when I was 10. I have insanely disordered eating and feelings about food and those types of things. But I mean, at that time, that was what was, that was important. And that was what parents were told was important. And the intent was good. They were trying to make sure that we were, healthy and protected.
And they're unlearning their almond mom behaviors, you know?
Yeah. So it's tricky because I think parenting now, I'm trying to have different dialogues, not always successfully because I have a lot of like rooted things about eating and food and body. But I try really hard to have different language around it. But then it's still happening at school. So.
Which I do think that's an important thing to bring up. And that's something that I'm very conscious with my niece. There'll be a lot of conversation. She's gorgeous, absolutely stunning, drop dead gorgeous. Love that for her. But there's a lot of conversations about how beautiful she is. And I'm like, she's also smart. She's also funny. She's also all of these things. Because if you're only ever praised on your looks, then that's what you think matters.
Yeah.
Why would you care about anything else? Why would you work on anything else? So I think that that's a really good point, and I think we all need to start doing that and calling those things out.
There's such a difference in how we praise girls and how we praise boys.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Huge difference.
And emotions are all wrapped up in that too, right? Because like boys, it's like, anger.
Look at you, you're so
like,
strong and
you
tough.
You can't cry,
and,
whatever. I mean, girls aren't really allowed to cry either. But yeah, like it's so complex, like the stuff we push on. And I think that us thinking about that hopefully starts to move the needle a little bit, like that's all we really can do.
Yeah. Looking to relax and rejuvenate? Treat yourself at Bello Day Spa. Located in the heart of Bedford West, from luxurious facials and brow services to soothing massages, waxing, and perfect manis, pedis, their team has you covered. Bello Day Spa isn't just a place for pampering. Their friendly staff will help you find the perfect skincare products from their wide selection of premium lines. Ready to refresh your routine? Book your appointment today and discover why Bello Day Spa is your neighborhood go-to spot for relaxation and self-care. Bello Day Spa, your local relaxation retreat. Yeah. I think, and all of these things, we've got this podcast. I mean, here we are talking, it's all about imposter syndrome, because all of this stuff affects our confidence. It's how we were raised. It's the things that we saw. It's how we show up. It's all of it. Like I didn't really think about some of, the smaller girls that are now looking at other girls who are taking GLP-1s, that all of a sudden you've got imposter syndrome, like you've got confidence issues because you're not as thin as you are, and you're working out and you're doing all these things. It's still not good enough, right?
Yeah.
You're now feeling like you're being rejected by society in some way, because
but how frustrating is it that
tough.
That's what matters?
That's what matters.
Why isn't it the words that come out of our mouths? Why isn't it about how good we are to our friends and family? And we just push all of those things aside all of the time, and we're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Why is how we present our bodies to the world the most important thing about us? That's wild.
Yeah.
It is, but it's so hard to change the way you think about it.
It's in there so good. You can think that you put that box away, you put it in another box, and then shipped it to wherever, and that box still comes back.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. I had a friend that the little black dress, right? This idea of little black dress. Why can't it just be black dress? Why does it have to be a little black dress?
Yeah.
Or you're saying to your friends, what are you going to wear tonight? Oh, I'm just going to wear jeans, a little white t-shirt. What? I'm going to wear jeans and a big white t-shirt? Fuck off with the little, the word little.
The word matters.
When you talk about getting dressed, I'm just going to wear a little this or a little that.
Because we've associated a value to it.
Right.
Yeah.
We've associated a value. We've associated a social currency to smallness.
Right.
And a femininity.
But what is the value to us as women to shrink ourselves?
Yeah.
Well, but this is so strange, though. You're right. We put a femininity to
being small,
which is important.
Which actually is a rejection of femininity, because the smaller you are, the less you have boobs and a butt. Kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
But then,
are we patriarchal again? Are we going back full circle to my voice?
Right.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. We're going back to the voice.
We've made a full circle.
We've come full circle.
That's good. We're good at that, eh? We tied it all together, wrapped it all up in a pretty little bow. It's not.
It
it's
is
not,
definitely
something pretty about it.
that needs to be talked about more, because it is everywhere you look. People are just so thin, and
but maybe it's our choice. I'm just thinking about the person listening, and if they're go whatever it is you're going to do. If it's you're going into a job, you're going to a presentation, and if the biggest thing that you're worried about is what your jeans look like, or what your outfit looks like, or things they're digging in, what makes you feel comfortable, whatever that is, and find things that fit your body right now. Don't look at the size. Put it on your body. Wear a fun color if that's the color that you love, and use that as your confidence, because you still deserve to show up. You still deserve to take up space regardless of where your body is or what it's doing. And it may change, it may not, but you still have value. And I want everyone to think about that when, you're getting ready in the morning, you're putting on your makeup, and, maybe you're feeling whatever you're feeling. Push through it, because it really doesn't matter. And we are putting that on ourselves more than the world is looking at it. You know what I mean?
100%.
If I go see somebody talk and I'm like, that girl is so freaking funny, I'm not thinking about what her body looks like unless she's rocking a really cool outfit. And I'm like, those pants are fire. I'm going to buy those. So I think we owe it to ourselves to try to at least attempt to push it aside and
Agreed.
do what we can to show up. I love what you were saying at the top of the show about finding your personal style. And, you mentioned free people and taking bits and pieces of things and making it your own. And I think the more we do that and the more we lean into our individualism, you can look at something and you can be like, that's for me, that's not for me.
Yeah.
And I think the more we do that, the better we will be, because it's less about we're like little clones.
Mm-hmm.
We all look the same. We're all in the same Aritzia effortless pants and the same top. Like, no, like go find your thing. Find what makes you feel good and confident and like lean into that. I think that's like our act of defiance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to actually bring it back to that too, because I think that's how, when I'm having body dysmorphia issues, style is so important to me.
Yeah.
Because I can find things that I feel confident in, or whatever size they may be or not be. And that becomes more about who I'm putting forth rather than, oh yeah, like I've put on a few pounds, over the last year or that kind of thing. Or I don't really like the way that my arms look or whatever it is that's bothering me. If I feel confident in the look that I've put together, my body is the least important part of that.
Exactly.
And that's been really, really helpful for me.
And you're finding stuff that fits your body, not trying to make the things fit your, you know what I mean?
And the things that I like, and I like the way that they look together, and I like the way that they feel, and I like that they're maybe a little bit different than the next person. And I think finding your individuality and those types of things makes it easier to then not scrutinize your body as much. At least it has been helpful for me. But I'm also 47 now, so I care a little bit less.
Yeah.
And that is very nice.
Yeah. But there is something to be said about like going to your closet and being like, everything in here fits. Everything in here looks good.
Yeah.
If you go to your closet and like all of the jeans are
My
too
closet.
small for you,
yeah, I've got a big pile of too small clothes.
throw them out.
Yeah.
Throw them out.
Yeah, you're right.
They're not serving you.
Yeah.
There's always a new style anyway. So there's
Exactly.
always something else coming. Toss them, because you are hurting yourself.
Yeah.
You are only hurting yourself. Who cares what size your pants are?
Yeah.
As long as they're hanging the way that they need to hang. Maybe take them to a tailor. We're not all the same size.
Well, even in the same clothing line, free people, for instance. God, I could have 6 different sizes of their pants and they all fit me
ridiculous.
differently.
I have the same 3 pairs of shorts that I ordered recently. They're just different colors. The black pair of shorts were gnarly as heck. Same style, same size, same everything.
So
but
it means nothing, the sizing.
they just made
Means
them
nothing.
weird.
Yeah.
Why am I making myself feel bad because they didn't follow the pattern?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think like finding whatever that is. Maybe it's like a red lipstick and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to rock this and I feel so good. Or maybe it's
Statement glasses. That was
Statement
my
glasses,
last year.
statement glasses, an emotional support headband, I like to call it. Like whatever it is, find those things for you and you can like the food noise, you can push it out.
Push it out.
Because you're like, no, actually this does look good and I feel good, and it doesn't matter that someone else is smaller, because someone will always be smaller. Someone will always be smaller and someone will always be
And
richer.
honestly, I've seen outfits on people in bigger bodies that look better.
Oh, I agree.
I think that all the time.
It's not even, it's about how you're putting together the clothes on your body. It's not your body.
I feel that all the time. I'm like, oh my God, like that looks so good. Like I love how that looks on. I feel, So imagine you're thinking like, oh, I'm bigger than this person, but we're thinking it looks better on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you
I
can have
love
this whole
some of those
narrative that's
lines.
not even true.
We do ourselves such a disservice,
Oh, it's the worst,
with not feeling like we fit in, and that whole imposter thing and all of it. Like
Well, and I think
how
for
we
you
judge
too, because
ourselves.
you are in the public eye much more than I am. I have a very, very small following. So I don't have the backlash or have to deal with the comments and the negativity
Oh, the
to that.
trolls are
Like,
bad.
Yeah.
I have my own in my mind, which is
Yeah.
very prominent, but
But we have to think about what is the price you pay by not doing whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Because only you pay that price. The
That's
trolls
so
don't
true.
pay that price. Your mom doesn't pay that price. Your sister, your bestie, whoever's criticizing you for doing whatever the thing is, you are the only person. And so you have to make a decision of, am I going to let fear prevent me from whatever may or may not bring me happiness? You have to take the risk.
Yeah.
But also taking the risk gives you confidence in yourself.
Right.
Because then you believe in yourself because you said what you were going to do,
Right.
which builds trust.
Mhm.
You have to have trust with yourself. Because if you don't have trust with yourself, when are you going to show up?
Exactly.
How are you going to feel like you can do something? If you make a commitment to yourself, you follow through.
So the winter blahs are slipping away. We're heading into spring, so we're going to challenge everybody to get out there, push yourself. First of all, go buy the clothes that fit your body. Second of all, go out and do the
And
things.
thrift.
And thrift. And have
Honestly,
fun.
like
Yeah,
thrifting is the
is
best.
actually so good because
Thrifting is the best.
that is there's no mannequin.
Yeah.
There's no cookie cutter. So like you are going through heaps and heaps of stuff and being like, this is for me. Or I can reimagine this blazer, which is a men's blazer, for myself.
Like
So-
I look at Free People, I can't afford it, but I look at it for inspiration and then I go thrift the looks that I want.
Oh,
Exactly.
you do. You do a really good
yeah.
job.
I have
at
like
that. Yeah.
mood boards and stuff that I just pick things.
and so much more sustainable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, that way you're not
mood
wearing the same
boards.
thing that everybody else is wearing either because you have a variety of things to choose from. And that's fun for me. Like, I feel like it's a puzzle. Like, I really
Totally.
like this look. How can I recreate it in a way that makes sense for me?
On
and
the
then-
budget that you have.
Yeah, and go out and thrift and do it. And that's a really great way if you're trying to like change your wardrobe because it's expensive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I agree. Or like if, do like a friend swap or something where you all just like bring a bunch of stuff that maybe you're not loving anymore. Maybe you fluctuated in sizes and do like a clothing swap. It doesn't
Yeah.
always have to be an off the rack situation. Yeah. But yeah, I love a challenge. So yes,
Yeah.
let's make people encourage them to, find something that maybe they have their eye on and just go for it.
Yeah,
just try
show
it
us
and
your
see how you
imposter
feel.
outfits.
Yeah, show your imposter outfits.
Yeah, imposter outfits. I love that.
Awesome.
You go for it.
You
I've
go
been,
for
I've
it?
been chatting a lot. You do it.
You're done with the chat?
No, I just think you haven't done one of these. I've done them all this season.
All right. So can you sing though?
yes, speed round.
Speed round. All right. We are going to do our speed round. We are going to ask you 5 questions.
Okay.
You can answer
I'm ready.
as briefly, couple of words
Okay.
as you can.
Ooh, this is a dangerous game, I hope
It
you
is.
know, because anything could come.
That's right. That's what
That's
we
why
expect.
we end the episode.
I'm from Cape Breton. There might be swear words.
There's
That's
always
all
swear
right.
words.
Oh,
We've
okay.
already,
We'd
we've
like
already
to have swear
dropped.
words.
Oh, okay, because I usually get in trouble for that.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
God.
We
Oh, okay.
encourage it.
Oh,
We've already
safe
dropped
space. I love this.
several during this episode.
Okay.
What's your favorite season?
Summer. It's also my birthday. I'm a Leo, so.
Oh, there you go. If, this is funny for you. If you had to be a Disney character, which would you be?
I want to be a Disney character so bad. Disney, call me. Call me. Okay, I will do it. I want to be like a peppy little cute little girl, like with a ponytail. Like I have a whole vision. Can we write a story about that? Because I'm ready.
You have a whole vision
I
for
have
a
a whole
Disney
vision.
character?
Yes. Okay, but like obviously I've been born with this
Yes.
voice for a reason. Let me make some money from it
Right.
before it gets raspy,
Yeah.
Like let's go.
It'll be interesting once it gets raspy.
could be.
It's true.
We have so many Disney execs listening, so you never know.
Right.
Come for me. I'm ready. Call me.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
Oh, my favorite childhood memory is definitely my grandparents used to have like a cottage in Ingonish, anyone who's familiar with Cape Breton. And we used to go there as kids and like all my cousins and aunts and uncles would like pile into the tiniest little space ever. And for me, it was like all of my happy memories because all the grown-ups were happy. And it was just like fun, no like itinerary. Like my grandpa would like make popcorn and forget to put the lid on it and everything was everywhere. All the kids would sleep on the floor. And to me, that is like bliss.
Yeah.
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 What's the most interesting place you've ever been? Where's the most interesting place you've ever
Oh,
been?
great question. It's funny because this time last year I was in Paris and then I went to Rome after that. So to me, I find Europe so interesting because it's like there's so much history. I just love the architecture and everything about it. So I would say that's interesting, but I also think Halifax is very interesting and there's lots of things to do here too. So I like to travel, but I like to come home.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
Was that 4 or 5?
I think it was 4.
Oh, gosh. Let me grab another. If you had a time machine, would you go to the past or the future?
Oh, interesting. See, it's tricky because if you go to the past, are you manipulating your future? I'm gonna get heavy, and I'm sorry for ending it this way. I would go back because I lost my dad when I was really young, and I would just like to spend time with him and get to know him, and then I think I would feel good about that. So
Yeah.
that's heavy. It's a heavy thing, but whenever there's like, who would you take to dinner? I always say that because we lost him when I was so young. I don't know anything about him, and I feel like that impacts how I know myself. So I feel like that would be really cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did we did an episode with Ruby, and she's newly lost a parent, and it's really affected everything about
Of course. She's
her
untethered.
life.
Like,
Yeah,
you're untethered.
yeah.
Yeah. And she's so young, too.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's tricky.
How old
because
were you?
I was 5.
5 when you lost your dad.
Wow.
Yeah, and like moved all over the province or the country. I went to like 5 schools for grade primary. This is why I have anxiety. This is
Yeah.
like, the things that keep me up at night. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I always say that because I think that would be there's no one cooler in my mind than that.
Yeah.
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 I love that answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And I'm sure your dad is out there watching you somewhere, very proud of you
That
and
is so sweet.
your
That's gonna make me cry.
kindness and all of the good things you are. So
Back to what we were
thank you.
saying though, I think with that, he passed away when he was 33.
Mm.
We won't do the math. I'm already older than that. And so I think about that almost on a daily basis. Like
Yeah.
that is as much life that he was allowed to live.
Yeah.
33, just a baby. And how lucky is it that I get to keep going? So every time I have a birthday, I think about it. Every time it would have been his birthday, I think about it. And I think that makes me show up different. I think that
30.
makes me push myself in a different way.
Yeah.
33. That's my daughter's age.
It's crazy.
That's so young.
So young.
So young.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're all very lucky, and you don't have to have a crazy experience to feel that way. Like it's a mindset of it's a privilege to wake up every day. It's a privilege to get to do the things. It also helps with your anxiety. I get to do this.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this. I get to do this.
Let's go live our lives, people. Let's
Woohoo,
do it.
let's
Let's
go.
just go live our
Yeah,
lives.
I love that perspective.
Thanks,
Thank you so
thanks,
much.
Kayla.
Thanks for having me.
It was really great chatting with you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Imposter Sisters. Please remember, we're not doctors or mental health experts. If you're looking for mental health guidance, please see our show notes for local resources. Until next time, keep your head high, and we will see you next Tuesday.